Hello and welcome back, my name is Nanti, and today we're looking at part 2 of my Cabrakan solo lane guide. In this video we're going to be looking at god builds and matchups in solo lane. So, let's begin with starter items. Vampiric Shroud is decent on Cabrakan. Honestly, you don't have to worry about defense too much, because he's quite tanky, just kind of naturally, because he's a Guardian. And the power is nice on Cabrakan because, as I mentioned in the previous video, he's very bursty, does a lot of damage. So, yeah, this is nice. Also, it gives you the health sustain and the mana sustain through the passive, as well as the MP5, which is nice because you don't have any natural healing as Cabrakan. There's no kind of sustain in the kit, so it's nice to have that through the starter item. If you're up against someone who does a hell of a lot of damage, so let's imagine maybe you're up against a Bakasura, or maybe you're up against an Osiris that you're scared of, or a Bastet maybe, you can go Mark of the Vanguard. It's pretty decent on Cabrakan and on most Guardian in the solo lane, because Guardians have quite high base damage on their abilities, so they don't have to worry about the power too much. So yeah, you can go Mark of the Vanguard as well. If you do go Mark of the Vanguard, my favourite to go with it is Potion of Magical Might. Gives you 50 magical power, which is pretty nice. Kind of makes up for your lack of damage through the through Mark of the Vanguard, and it gives you a lot of kill potential in lane. You know, you level a hell of a lot of damage off your 2. You'll just be bursting people for 50% of their health. It's pretty crazy. With Vampiric Shroud, typically I don't like to go with Potion of Magical Might. I think you're too all-inning the damage there, really. It's just too much. Like, you need the Potion of Magical Might if you're going Mark of the Vanguard, because you need some damage to be able to deal with the early laning phase pressure of another god. If you go Vampiric Shroud, typically you're not too worried about what the enemy god's going to do to you. It's more like they should be worried about what you can do to them. So with that, I just like to go with Boots 1. Just get that online. You know, it's 300 gold. It's an easy pickup, and then I just get a load of pots. So if I'm going the Vampiric Shroud, I'll typically get 5 healing pots and 3 multi-pots. If I'm going Mark of the Vanguard, then I'll go Potion of Magical Might, and I'll get 3 of these. Actually, 3 health pots, 2 mana pots typically. You can switch it around as well. You can get 2 mana pots, 2 health pots, 3 mana pots. But I like this. So then, you know, you're decently tanky. You've got a nice bit of health sustain, nice bit of mana sustain. It's pretty nice. Cabrakan can be quite mana hungry in lane, but it's not too bad. Obviously, with the blue buff changes, as I mentioned, you have blue buff up 66% of the time you're in lane, so that's quite nice. So yeah, this is a decent start. So boom. Straight after that, I like to go straight into Pen Boots. They're really good on Cabrakan. The penetration is amazing. You do so much damage early on. The mana is also nice, because as I said, he uses quite a lot of mana if you're tremoring the wave quite a lot. Yeah, you never want to go cooldown boots really on Cabrakan. It just doesn't suit his kind of playstyle. You know, you're a burst kind of character. You need the penetration and the power. After that, it's kind of situational. If you're up against a physical god, I like to go Breastplate. It's really cheap now, 1950, so you can get this online really quickly. Yeah, really good item. Gives you physical protection, which is nice. Just kind of helps you out even against, you know, the minions as well. And if you're up against a physical god, it's really nice. If you're not, you can go Voidstone. This gives you even more pen, nice bit of power, nice bit of magical protection. Really decent. Obviously, if you're just getting destroyed in lane, then you need something else. Maybe you can go Midgardian really early on, or a Bulwark really early on, or a Stone of Gaia probably would be the better option. But typically you want to be building into these kind of hybrid damage defensive items on Cabrakan. You can also go Mystical Mail, just for the kind of, you know, completely shutting down the lane. They're never going to be able to kill you ever. Mystical Mail works quite well with his Tremors, because people get caught inside the Tremors. So they're kind of forced to stay near Cabrakan and take the Mystical Mail aura. Problem is, it's quite expensive. I do harp on about Mystical Mail being amazing, but recently I've kind of been falling off it just because, like, how expensive it is. You can sort of fall behind a bit in terms of damage, which you don't want. But yeah, so I often like going Breastplate of Valor. After that then, Typically I'll go into whichever one I didn't go into before, so either Breastplate or Voidstone. And this kind of, our damage core is now done. We've got a nice bit of defense, a nice bit of power. The only problem with this is that we don't have any health, so we want to rectify that situation. Ethereal Staff, super nice on Guardians, damage Guardians, because Guardians have really high health scaling. Cabrakan doesn't have the highest health scaling of all Guardians. Ymir has the highest, but it's still, he has a lot. I think it's like 94 or something like that, 94 health per level. So that's pretty decent. Yeah, really good item. As well, gives, you know, the power. 600 health, 600 health is huge. You don't typically go with Warlock Sash, because Warlock Sash just takes too long to stack for the time that you're going to be picking this up. Warlock Sash is something you pick up early on a solo lane mage typically, or on Hades, because Hades is a mage essentially. He's a tanky mage, he's a bit like Shonquay. So yeah, Ethereal Staff is decent, it gives you a nice bit of power, nice bit of health. Health is always good. Boom. Okay, so now we can see we've got, this is kind of, I guess you can call it the core build. These items typically always make their way into a Cabrakan build. They make you, you know, decently tanky, do a decent amount of damage. After this, we can go into more defense. I like to go Midgardian Mail, because as the solo laner, I like to be kind of in front of the carries a lot. You know, use your big body to just block the ADC a lot. So I think Midgardian Mail is really good for that, and it gives you a decent amount of health as well, and the passive is really nice. Obviously, if they have more magical damage, so imagine if they have not a Hunter in the ADC but a Freya, you would obviously then go Bulwark, because it gives you a lot of health and the magical defense. There is a new item. Well, it's not new, it's a reworked item that's just come out. Where is it? Oh no, that's physical only, isn't it? I was thinking of Runic Shield, but that's physical only. Okay, so don't worry about that. I was thinking about that's good against Freya, but that's physical only. So yeah, you would obviously go Bulwark in that situation. We can build Midgardian yet. And then finally, for our last item, if you want, you can go more defense. If you feel like you just really need to be a front line for your team. So if the enemy team has a really aggressive comp, a really like dive heavy comp, then you can just go into more defense, just to kind of survive that, keep your carries alive, and then kind of counter initiate. But I really like Soul Reaver. Soul Reaver's amazing on Guardians, dude. The 15% max health is crazy on Cabrakan. It just allows him to one-shot people. It's amazing. Yeah, I love Soul Reaver. You can also go Gem of Isolation if you want to be really troll and just keep people in your tremors forever. It can be a nice option. It has the health on it, so it's kind of got a bit of synergy with Ethereal Staff. It's a decent option. And then we have other situational items such as Wingblade, which is nice against teams that slows, and has health in it again, so it works well with Ethereal Staff. Hide of the Urchin is a nice kind of combo item. You can also go Spirit Robe as well sometimes, but honestly I like health items more than just the kind of the passive on Spirit Robe if I wanted a defensive item at this stage. So I don't tend to go for that very much. But yeah, Soul Reaver, if you got big balls, go Soul Reaver. It's awesome. You can carry as Cabrakan, which I think is something you can do. You can't carry many supports. Ymir probably being one of them that you can carry with him in the jungle. Athena you can carry in the jungle, sort of. And also Cabrakan in solo lane you can carry with. So yeah, this is kind of like the decent build. It sort of follows my rule of boots, 2 damage items, 2 defensive items, and a utility. So obviously boots, 2 defensive items, 2 damage items, then utility. Maybe I shouldn't say utility, more hybrid, I guess. Ethereal Staff is a kind of hybrid defensive, offensive item. So yeah. And Voidstone's really good kind of damage item because it gives magical protection as well, so that's really nice. Okay, so in terms of actives, I talked about actives a lot. Obviously Blink is super awesome on Cabrakan. You can blink stun people with your 1, which is super good. You can activate your 1 before you blink, because it doesn't put you in combat. So that's pretty good. Teleport obviously is... I've been liking teleport more and more, honestly. Because it allows you to be in team fights. If you're good at kind of watching the map and seeing what's happening in the game, then shielded teleport, if you use it correctly, could just really push your team ahead, allow you to kind of win a team fight and get goal fury. So yeah, teleport's nice. And then we go into more items like Weakening Curse, Enfeebling, if they have healers, or Freya plus Kali. Heavenly Agility is nice if they have a weakening and you want to counter it, or if they just have big slows. Aegis you don't really need as Cabrakan because you're super tanky and you prefer a different active, one that's better for your team. Beads can be useful sometimes if you need to pick them up. If you're against an Ares or something, you have no CC immunity in your kit, so beads can be picked up. Shell is also one that can be used, as well as shield can be nice as well. If you're up against maybe a hunter in the solo lane and they have another hunter, you can get shield, just so you can really bully the hunters. So yeah, that concludes God builds. Let's move on to matchups.